Hi guys, my name is Solomon Elua and I welcome you to the fourth edition of my social worker profile. In this video, we'll be talking about my activities in Module 4. But before we go into Module 4, I would give a quick recap of what we did in Module 3. So in Module 3, we had readings from the textbook about social work and women, social work and racialized Canadians and immigrants. I think we read about social work with people with disabilities. We talk about social work and sexual and gender diversity. Let me see. I think with social work and older Canadians, we wrote reflections on that. I wrote my reflections on what I thought about those things, and we had an exercise. So we did our Three of Life, and the Three of Life actually brought our personal consciousness into what we would see ourselves doing as social workers. That's how I felt by doing the Three of Life exercise, and that would probably be the highlight of this entire course for me, because as you guys can see behind me, I still have the Three of Life there. It's just to remind me, and like I said, I would keep updating it. It's more like now like my own personal expression board as to how I'm feeling, the new perspective I'm getting from the class, from interactions with my peer, from my work experience, from things I learned with other professionals that social workers are expected to work with, and it's really it's been quite a journey, and it has it has made me conscious of my personal qualities. And now let's go into Module 4. Module 4 actually spoke about dealt with professional social work, and in this module we read the code of ethics, we read the guidelines for ethical practice, which is more like a more familiar text with the code of ethics. We also read about the standards of practice. We read about the scope of practice. We watched a few videos, and all of these activities were just to make us understand that we are human beings before we became social workers, and social work is infused in our life. Like there was a video that that I think, I can't remember the name of the video, but it was more like social work and in the lifespan. All through the journey of life, you would, if you take a step back and reflect, you would see the impact of social work. Like, it's as wide as can be, it's as broad as can be. And I remember coming in, taking this course and having just one direction as to what I want to do. But at this stage, I've come to realize that I can't tell you that I have 5 different things I would be open to doing as a social worker, because they keep expanding every day. With every time I interact with people, with every time I read an article, or I watch a video, or I do one of the course exercise, I realize that we are unprofessional social work by virtue of existing on the earth. And by taking the course, by getting accredited, by registering with the appropriate association, by following the legislation, then we become professional social work. So in Module 4, I think what intrigued me was just the experience of understanding what the social work code of ethics actually is about. It's at first, when you hear about code of ethics and all this legislation, you just assume there are do's and don'ts of a profession. But after reading and reflecting, looking at my personal experiences, looking at my personal traits, I realized that this legislations are here to actually guide you and also protect you for in situations where you don't see the borderline. So I'll give an example. Personally, I'm very passionate about what I do. I look forward to being a passionate social worker, but then there are times when too much passion would get you across certain boundaries. So the code of ethics were set in place to actually make you aware of these boundaries, and then also to guide you on what is expected of you as a social worker. One very important thing is I also loved about the readings and the videos is the fact that they pointed a situation where your personal values as a human being before becoming a social worker might actually become contradicting to what is expected of you. And the code of ethics and scope of practice, all of these legislations make you understand what is expected of you and what you should do, the appropriate reporting channels, the appropriate means of escalating situations like this. And you would realize that these legislations do not just tell you what to do; they look out for you. They look out for the for the profession. They look out for the agency, and most importantly, they look out for the clients. Because one big thing about worker to client relationship is confidentiality. Another big thing is the borders of relationship, because there are times when a social worker might be working too often or too closely with a client, and then they begin to form a friendship. And this, I'm not saying that friendships aren't allowed, but if it's within the scope of profession, then it's easier to actually build trust, because a client would only open up to a social worker that they are very close with, that they feel comfortable around. That's the word I intend to use. They feel comfortable around, because that's when they give more. You don't expect a woman who has been sexually assaulted or has gone through the trauma of varying types of assault to be overly expressive with a random stranger. So in between module 3 and module 4, I'm able to look at what the code of ethics says about relationship building. I'm able to understand what the code of ethics or what the scope of practice says about evaluation, about assessment. Now, these are steps that are very, very important, because as a social worker, I would want to work closely with individuals that are fleeing domestic violence. I would want to work with these women. I would want to be able to earn their trust. I would want to possess the qualities, the professionalism that would make them feel at ease to express themselves when they are around me. That's what the code of ethics has made me understand, that these are lines you shouldn't cross. These are things that you should do. And when personal sentiments get in the way, this is what you should do. So looking at that, I really I still hope to learn more. The main part of module 4 is I understand where my personal sentiments might get in the way of my professional work by reading the code of ethics. So I might have stated in my previous video, I work as a crisis support worker in a women's shelter, and due to the pandemic, we have less interactions. But pre-pandemic period, we often have interactions where clients can come down and ask for help. They need to reach their case managers. They need to talk to a counselor, and we are there to point them in the right direction. They might need one or two other domestic things, and we provide it for them. And there are times when we would need to also deliver things to them. Personally, we've seen situations where a colleague or a co-worker might not be what's the word, comfortable doing certain things that is required of him at the workplace. As a man working in a women's shelter, I have certain limitations. I have things that I can't do, and I've always not understood what to do at certain times, although I always express it to my supervisor that I don't know what to do at this time. But going through the course, reading the legislation, I now understand why these things are put in place, because they know that social work is not just limited to a certain type of people. Certain types of advocacy is not limited to a certain gender. Social work is diverse, and it's expected that diverse populations should work in this profession. So the code of ethics and all these other legislations have made it possible for you to work within the guidelines of social work without breaching professional ethics, and also without contradicting your personal values. It was very important for me to learn all of this. I was very excited to learn about all these things and what to do when I get in the situation of conflict. And I look forward to building more on that. Character-wise, it has helped me understand where the limits of my passion can get and what to expect when I actually follow the code of ethics as the social work profession. So going forward, I hope to channel all of this in the levels of practice I choose to focus on when I become a social worker, because I now understand how to build relationships. I still want to learn more. I'm also gathering the varying theories that would help me, that I feel comfortable going with based on my personality. And in the long run, I see myself as a growing plant. Just like the tree of life is ever evolving, you keep adding. I see myself as a growing plant, and I am open to feeding myself with this new information, interaction with people, talking to clients, working on my personal self. For example, one of the benefits of this exercise is because I know that we are still dealing with the pandemic and its restrictions. I don't know how long we would continue to have these restrictions, and I have been able to do more of speaking with people over the phone. This exercise has helped me to build my confidence level in speaking through the phone, not just speaking one-on-one, and I hope to build more on that. So I would want to round up here. I hope to learn more. I hope to see more as time goes, and I have lots of questions I would want to answer as to the diversity of social work. So stay tuned for my next video, and bye for now.